Two, one. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the otherkin and therian communities. Now, it may seem kind of weird to you, or it may seem kind of stupid for people to think that they're part animal, or to think that they're entirely a different species trapped in a human's body. This is actually a mental disorder, a real mental disorder called species dysphoria. It's the experience. Yeah, sorry. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. We're going to be discussing species dysphoria. It's the experience of dysphoria, including clinical lycanthropy, which is a disillusion or hallucination of oneself as an animal, and dysmorphia, excessive concern over one's body image. It's associated with the feelings that one's body is the wrong species. Earls and Lamore of 2009 described it as a sense of being in the wrong body and the desire to be an animal. Outside of psychology literature, the term is commonly used with otherkin and therian communities. This is an actual mental disorder. This is something that does affect a lot of people. You especially see them on Tumblr, Reddit, and you see them in online forums talking about how they're part of other animal. Now, a lot of people may come up to the example that, oh, well, it's always something cool. It's always something that's either cool or cute. It's always one or the other. It's never something like a carpenter ant, a platypus, or a dung beetle. Well, that is incorrect. You name a species of an animal, fictional, real, or even extinct, and you will find people that feel as if they're that animal. Believe it or not, that does happen. Now, this has been around. This is not a new thing. This isn't something that's been around since the internet's been around. It's been around since way before that, long before that. I'm talking early 19th century, when the field of psychology first started coming in, is when this thing first started happening. Now, does this mean that everyone should, dress up like an animal if they feel like it? No. Because there's a lot of people that do this in order to escape from being associated with humans, which humans have made we as a species have not done very well. Especially if you look on the internet, you will find for every intelligent person probably about 700,000 or 800,000 of people that are just plain stupid. Or you can just take Tumblr as a great example of what not to do. Now, seeing how this is a real mental disorder with a real issue, I'm not justifying dressing yourself up like a cat and installing whiskers into your body, which people have done. People have gotten plastic surgery to make themselves look like the animal as if they are. People have gone to that step. But it's not something that's cute. It's not something that is a fad or something that they just, I just want to pretend to be something. No. This is a real mental disorder. This is something that needs to be looked at by a professional. Something that you should go do if you feel like that. It doesn't mean to go on Tumblr and talk about how you have wings trapped in your body. And it's just confusing because a lot of people will go to extremes for this. I'm talking about people that fantasize, that feel themselves as part of a dinosaur and will actually start eating plants that they find around the house or around the backyard or around the forest. This can lead to, it can lead to something very bad indeed. Eating random plants that you happen to find in the forest is not a good thing to do. Maybe you should. Those people, I really do believe they should seek help. Go to a psychologist and try to understand what this species dysphoria is. What brings this about is a chemical imbalance in the brain. Yes. So in other words, dragonkin, otherkin, therian, whatever you want to call yourselves, is an actual thing. But that doesn't mean you should go so overboard as to put yourself in bodily harm or even alter your body to do this. You may feel better, but take a look at an example. In the early 90s, there was a man that felt like he was part tiger, even going so far as to get whiskers installed into his lips and getting his teeth removed and altered to mimic fangs. As you might imagine, getting a job is not exactly easy for someone who alters that body to that extremity. He used to work at a carnival, a freak show, if you will. Well, that carnival ran out of business, and he wound up almost homeless. If it wasn't for his sister taking him in, he would have been a stray cat. And the conditions for her taking him in is that he had to get the whiskers removed, he had to get those teeth yanked out and put in actual porcelain implants or dentures or something to be human. And pushed up against the wall, he did it so that he would not wind up being a stray cat, instead being a human with a home. And he has said that doing that extremity that he did was a mistake. See, that's what happens. He didn't get himself checked out. He thought, well, I'll just transform myself into a cat via plastic surgery. And of course you're going to find a plastic surgeon willing to do it because, well, if I want a big giant horn attached to my head, I can find a plastic surgeon that'll probably do it. Even though it goes against completely everything that's medically sound, they'll probably do it. Why? Money. You got enough money, you can get anything happen. Which is just frightening. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to... Okay, you know what? Cut the nonsense. If you feel as if you're part animal, you have to look deep inside yourself and think, do I really think I'm part animal? Or am I just so disgusted with humanity that I don't exactly want to be associated with it? That's a question you should ask yourself with a psychiatrist there to see if you actually have this or don't. One of the biggest faults of mankind is this thing called self-diagnosing, where people just have this whimsical thought. Like there's a lot of people that imagine themselves as a bird. Usually you'll find a lot of these people in a prison because the birds are free. They have this true freedom where they could fly. And a lot of people in prison draw a very close kinship with these animals. That is not species dysphoria. That is pretend. See, that's why you need a psychologist there in order to differentiate the difference between pretend and reality. Okay? So, species dysphoria is a real medical condition. It's something that's to be looked at, and there's a lot of people that are seeking help for it, but then those people seeking help for it go on a website called Tumblr, and look what happens. They find millions of other people that are pretending to have what they have. And some people get disgusted with it. Some people feel humiliated. Here's a word of advice. Don't go to Tumblr unless you want to cringe, laugh at other people's stupidity. That's what Tumblr has become. Well, that and a copious amount of fan fiction artwork, which is not something on YouTube that I'm going to display because it's kind of inducing or weird. Something that I don't figure out is normal. But again, it's fan fiction, so it's going to be like that because people have very colorative imaginations. If you want to imagine yourself as some type of animal and you know you don't have the species dysphoria, keep it in your head. Keep it in your imagination. Let it stay there. Kind of like Vegas, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, what happens in your mind should stay in your mind in that case. Because there's real people that suffer from this disease, and it is a disease. It is something that they need help for. And people like you are clogging up the pipe and not allowing people that need this to get help. Okay, that's as much as that I could really stand. I mean, I don't understand. To me, I don't get it, but again, it's a mental disorder. I also don't understand a lot of things about mental disorders because I'm not a psychologist. Well, I do find the field to be interesting. See, when I was going into high school and considering psychology, everybody was considering psychology. It's one of those jobs where you have 14 million people that are psychologists and about 700 million people that think they are. And because of that, seeking help from an actual professional can actually be difficult because when you talk about it with your friends might say, "Oh, I studied psychology at the YMCA for 6 months. I know everything." No, you don't. You don't. Go to a real psychologist. Get the help you need. That's all for this particular episode. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do so. Also, click on that little bell so that you can find out so that you'll know when I upload another video. I upload at random times. I attempt to upload more frequently, but given that fact that I have a work schedule, that it makes it kind of difficult for me to do so. So click on that little bell. Make sure you give this a thumbs up too if you like the content. And leave a comment in the section. Talk about your experiences. Maybe you just feel like saying A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's fine. I'll let it pass. That's not a problem. Alright? Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.